Good evening. Welcome to the North Rose-Wolcott Central School Board of Education meeting tonight. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first order of business is to approve tonight's agenda. A motion, please, to approve. Linda and Travis, any discussion? All in favor of approving the agenda? Motion is carried. John, you seem like you're a long way away down there.
I'm a special number.
Ah, well, if you misbehave, I'll never know because you're too far away.
Teachers always know.
Tonight we begin with our presentations, and I will turn the meeting over to Mr. Poland to make those introductions.
Thank you, Mrs. Collier. So I'm going to start with Mrs. Hake and Mr. Stopka. They're going to bring members of their school leadership team up. They're going to do a presentation on the elementary school improvement plan. And so we've worked on a routine where not everyone's lined up in single file, so they're sitting in the front row. So I'm going to ask Karen and Ben to come on up and kick this thing off. Thank you.
Good evening. As Mike said, we are here to present our school improvement plan for the elementary school for the 2025-26 school year. With me tonight, I have Ben Stopka, our assistant principal, Daniel Kim, third grade teacher, Melissa Mason and Lindsay Roberts, fourth grade teachers, Jordan Bratt, second grade teacher. Am I too loud again? I'm sorry. Christine Chapman, our math interventionist, and Megan Penikoff, our instructional coach. All of what we do is rooted in our district mission and vision from our strategic action plan. You will see this year the 3 buildings as well as the directors, the consistency with all of our plans as we created a collaborative goal over the summer to strengthen connections as a supportive school community so every learner can demonstrate growth.
Our first objective is to have 100% of instructional staff implementing agreed upon core instructional practices by January of 2026. There are going to be multiple tasks that must be done to achieve this objective. These tasks can change as the year goes on based on needs that may arise. First, we are going to leverage community partners for professional development opportunities. Last month, and some of the PDs in the future, Teresa Patchen has and will come to share best practices when it comes to math standards. Staff were also surveyed for their professional development needs. We will also align math curriculum and assessments to prioritize standards and practices. We have a math committee to make sure that these standards and practices are being followed and reviewed. Teachers are being provided continued professional development on the science of reading practices. We have monthly topics that are provided by the literacy coach.
We are revising rubrics so grading is more equitable and consistent across classrooms. This means report card grades and curriculum assessments like exit tickets, math tests, or essay revisions will reflect student learning more fairly and to focus on the mastery of their skills. We're updating and closely monitoring our pacing guides and atlas to make sure instruction across grade levels stay aligned and on track. This helps ensure that all students, no matter their teacher, are exposed to the same core content at the same time. In our Tier 1 meetings, we're implementing a structured data protocol, specifically the ORID model, which stands for Objective, Reflective, Interpretive, and Decisional. This framework gives teachers a clear and consistent process for looking at student data. This data protocol came from the Midwest Regional Partnership and was developed over the summer with our IDEA team. Finally, each teacher will be developing and using a classroom management plan. These plans are designed to increase students' time in class and maximize their learning. Importantly, these management plans will also be available to substitutes. So when a teacher is absent, the classroom expectations remain clear and learning can continue without interruption.
By June 2026, 70% of students receiving Tier 2 interventions will demonstrate academic progress by showing at least a 10% increase from their fall to spring benchmark assessments. We are using Math Win Time, or What I Need, each day to focus on Tier 2 student needs. All elementary students work on their iReady pathways. In addition, teachers are pulling students in small groups to target instructional needs, and students are working on math activities independently or with a partner. Tier 2 assessment data will be reviewed at MTSS meetings bi-weekly. This allows teams to make adjustments and provide additional support when needed. Teachers will use skill-based assessments to track individual student growth and identify specific areas for continued focus. After each benchmark assessment, teachers will hold data chats with students to analyze, set goals, and plan targeted instruction.
Our third objective is by June 2026, 70% of students receiving Tier 3 interventions will demonstrate academic progress by showing an increase in their fall to spring benchmark assessments. To address this objective, an MTSS handbook has been created that includes the RFA process, a timeline for next steps, as well as the criteria for entering and exiting highly specialized instruction in Tier 3 interventions. This will include approximately 75 students in math and reading. Students will fluidly enter and exit interventions throughout the year.
Intervention data will be collected and reviewed bi-weekly at our building MTSS meetings. We want to ensure that the students receiving a Tier 3 intervention are closely monitored for their progress. As a member of the MTSS team and as an interventionist, I get the opportunity to address the needs and progress for my own math students. Additionally, progress monitoring assessments will be adjusted to align with individual needs that have been identified. This can happen with the interventionist as well as the classroom teacher. The students' pathways can be adjusted when appropriate to help students master earlier skills or skills at a higher level. Teachers can make those instructional decisions on an individual basis.
Lastly, we will utilize community partners and agencies to support Tier 3 students with academic and social emotional support throughout the year. For example, a behavioral specialist from URMC, Wayne Behavioral Health, our youth advocacy programs, and the district's phone.
By working on the tasks we've described today, our school has several anticipated outcomes. When we focus on student growth and proficiency, we aim to help children meet grade level expectations and to ensure that each child makes measurable progress over time. This commitment goes hand in hand with building stronger connections with our community partners. When families, local organizations, and businesses engage with the school, students and teachers gain access to resources, experiences, and support systems that enrich learning and strengthen the homeschool connection. We also have a dedication to consistency across grade levels by meeting vertically within the building and across the district. Teachers collaborate closely to align instruction, routines, and expectations so students experience a seamless progression from one year to the next. As a building, we rely on data-informed decision-making. By analyzing assessments and progress monitoring, we can identify what strategies are working, adjust instruction when needed, and provide the right supports at the right time. One of the ways this comes to life is through flexible intervention groups. These groups allow us to personalize learning with students moving in and out as their skills develop, ensuring that instruction meets student needs. Together, these priorities create a strong foundation for success.
Thank you for your time this evening and for allowing our school leadership team to present this year's school improvement plan. Any questions?
Darren?
I think it's great, all these things are gonna happen. If I'm a parent, how do I know what my child is, if he's advanced or she's advanced or not, what's happening to my kid? How do you communicate with the parent?
Through phone call, but we also have letters. So any student who's receiving, even if it's general one time within the classroom, every family receives a letter explaining what they will be doing. All tier 3 students or any student that sees a counselor or an interventionist also receives a phone call and a letter. We have the MTSS handbook on our website now, which explains the tier 1, the tier 2, and the tier 3 to families.
Great, that's good. Thank you.
Good. Anyone else?
I have one question. It sparked my curiosity when, I forget who was presenting now, I'm sorry. Talking about data chats and goal setting with the student, with the child, and I thought, what does that look like? You know, what does that look like with the child when you talk about the data of how they're doing in school? How does that look with the teachers?
So our benchmark assessments provide us information in various categories for math or for language arts. So what it allows us to do is to really hone in. So maybe a student is really good at decoding. And they're good at pulling the letters apart, making a word, but they need to focus on the comprehension aspect, which would be a higher level. So really those conversations are adapted at each level to the student for the data that's being collected, and it allows an ongoing conversation between the student and the teacher as the cycles roll through and they have a chance to meet. So it's really kind of dynamic and adaptable to student to need to intervention tool in place.
And those goals are shared at parent-teacher conferences. So the student comes up with a reading goal, a math goal, and then a personal goal, and then they're shared at parent-teacher conferences.
As a conference is student-led.
Yes,
Share that.
yes, the conferences are student-led. Students are always invited to come and share pieces that they would like to share. I know as a teacher, I used to have them share their favorite writing assignment or their goal chart.
And do they use the iReady? The kids can see their score, so that's a good way for them also to see their improvement.
Yes, and the pathway will tell them, this is the skill you're working on, this is how many you passed, how many minutes you've been in there. I passed 4 lessons.
And it's something we celebrate often as well. So we use a lot of our celebration mechanisms from Cougar Pride Awards, where we're recognizing students each and every day for, getting a certain amount of lessons or hitting a goal or hitting a mark. So it's a very ongoing and fluid conversation.
Positive momentum.
Yes.
Very good.
Are you seeing a lot of parents using the student-led conference? Is it up to the parent? Is it a joint
I mean,
decision?
yes, because they can bring, their child or not to the conference. I do say yes, I see more and more every year, especially that we offer our aides to watch the other children if that parent, so if a parent has 3 children, they can bring the one student and then the other students can go into the gym or the cafeteria. So I think providing that allowed parents to bring their children more, but yeah, I mean, we invite them, but ultimately, I would say every year there's more and more students I see participate.
How about the students at tier 3 with behavioral interventions? Are you using that process as well with that to allow the parents so they're part of that?
Yes, all parents are part of the MTSS process. We always get their input before and then after as well. We invite parents in for meetings to discuss what that looks like as well. In fact, we just had one today and one yesterday for students receiving.
At parent conferences, are you using that time to update that as well?
If the interventionists do, they try their hardest to make it to all, but if Christine has 30, some are scheduled at the same time. She tries really hard to go to as many as possible, and to even touch base, jump in and out of the conferences, but they are there and present.
That is built right into our MTSS process as well. So when a student moves into the MTSS system, that's part of our standing rotation of conversations as parental input. So each time that we meet, we're getting a rotation. Parents are being updated and informed, and we're bringing information back and forth.
Is it still quarterly that you meet and address that?
Yes, but we've been meeting, our interventionists actually asked to meet halfway through the quarter as well, which we find is going to work because students may be picking up a skill, because especially elementary, it's really skill-based. Maybe they picked up those short vowels, so now they can exit that intervention and new student can come. So we are now meeting at the 4 and then that.
Good.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Well, thank you very much. We're glad. Oh, John has one?
Another question, has to do with classroom management plans. I've never heard that as a task before for the teacher, and I know it's done all the time. Teachers manage the students' time. I mean, that's what life is. How is that formalized? It's so intriguing that the substitute gets it, which is ideal, because subs walk in sometimes, they don't know the kids, they don't know any of the paperwork that was done and the work. So what does it mean to manage the time? Who does it? What does it look like?
Megan, do you want to talk about it, or do you want me to? Because Megan sits with some of our teachers to help them with their plans.
I can talk about
Okay.
it. We've done them for a few years on and off. This year, they have the same format. Every teacher in the school kind of did it in conjunction with their substitute plans because there tends to be a little bit of an overlap, but the classroom management plan goes into detail on, the teacher's vision for the classroom, how the routines are played out throughout the day. So you can see like, okay, this is their morning arrival. This is what they do when they're transitioning between subjects. All of that's spelled out, as well as incentives that the classroom teacher is using, school-wide incentives, consequences that may be in place in the classroom. And it's basically a supplemental support to the subplans for the day. So if a teacher or a substitute teacher comes into the room and they look through that, they know how to address behaviors, they know which students to go to for help, or the students who are like the helpers, the ones who can ask for questions. And I think most of the subs, they tend to be in our building again and again. So once they've seen it once, a lot of the classroom management plans are similar across the grade level as well. We just give policies and routines.
John, if I can piggyback on what Megan just shared as well. So the administration is great about letting people know who's out. So the team approach also. So teammates from the classroom next door can come in and check on the substitute teacher as well, which helps greatly, right? So they're keeping an eye on things so that everybody's in it together. So that if there are routines and procedures that they've gone over with Megan as the instructional coach, or it's in the sub folder, having a teammate right next door check on you throughout the day is also very helpful. And one other piece of information that they didn't share today that we collect, because we say we're data informed, not data driven, is the number of crisis calls that go to the office and the number of discipline referrals, right? So I believe the number was in like 119 last year, close to 120. It's down to 100, or excuse me, it's down to 49 for the month of September this year, which, for kids that have had 10 weeks off from the structure, routines, and procedures, seeing that type of reduction tells you our processes are working. And, when we look at the data and we see it at the district office, and I'm familiar with the names on the chart, I'm pleased to see some of those children over time and maturity, the number of instances where they're being referred to the office or out of the classroom, it's reduced greatly. In fact, Karen and I had a conversation about a couple of them yesterday. One is kind of, showing themselves and they're spiking a little bit. And then one is really making tremendous gains over the course of the last year. So it's really a pleasure to see what they're doing. And again, it's not always just the paper and pencil measures. Sometimes it's the social emotional stuff that you can't put a grade on that really is paying big dividends for our kids. And you're seeing it in the culture, you're seeing it in the climate, and you're noticing it in the hallways. So it's really good stuff happening down there.
I just wanted to comment that when you were talking about that, the management and how things go, that's not only helpful for the substitute, but it's helpful for the teacher that can't be there, because then there's some consistency there for the students. So that's a great thing.
It is, and if we see an increase in behaviors in a classroom, Ben or I can talk to the teacher, maybe look over that classroom management plan and take time to reflect on as well. Is that, is there something we can add here, or that some instructional coach does as well? So it's always a kind of a fluid document.
Thank you so much.
So moving right on, Willow and Maggie wanted, two of our class officers here. And as you know, Lily is our student board rep. I'm going to ask that they come up to the podium, and they're going to present some information to the board tonight. Are you bringing Ms. Sinclair up as your security blanket? So they're gonna present some information to the board. We don't have to take official action on it tonight. You know, we'll act on this in the second board meeting of the month, but they're gonna present an option for the senior class trip. So we figured, let's give you the information. Let's hear from them directly as to what they're gonna do, and then kind of we'll vote on it at the next meeting. Go ahead, ladies.
Good evening, my name is Liliana Mastrangelo, I'm the senior class president.
And I'm Maggie Wonick, and I'm the treasurer.
So for our senior trip proposal, we wanted to keep it in tradition for the North Rose-Wolcott High School, as camping has gone back years with our senior trip. We have not done an overnight trip since COVID, but we're hoping to slowly bring that back. This senior trip will be at dates June 1st and 2nd, so it will be a singular night. We have the itinerary pretty much planned out. We would leave school June 1st, pretty much right when we get there. We'll arrive at Camp Corey at 10:30 a.m. We'll check into the cabins, get everyone situated. We will eat lunch around noon. We'll learn about all the camp expectations, their rules, all the activities they have to offer, and then get started on those activities around 2 through 5 p.m. Camp Corey is an overnight camp run by the YMCA, so they offer tons of different activities that are all included in the price. It is right on Cayuga Lake, so they offer kayaking, swimming in the lake, paddle boarding. There's also a high ropes course, archery, zip lining, arts and crafts, volleyball, and then there will be ice cream socials, and then late night bonfires with s'mores. All meals are provided. It is a buffet style. There will be a salad bar, and also all allergies and food needs will be accommodated and met through the camp. We'll make sure we get all that information from the students. The evening plans, after the activity at 6 p.m. there will be dinner. Again, all dietary needs will be met. The evening activity will be planned later on, hopefully by seniors. We'll get the whole entire class included. At 9:30 we'll have that ice cream social and the campfire and s'mores. And then we'll start back up on June 2nd after that night. Breakfast will be at 8 a.m. We'll have another opportunity to do one of the activities from 9 to 11. And then we'll check out and possibly stop somewhere on the way home to get a final class activity going.
All right, so right now our cost per student is $70. And this is actually like the cheapest it's ever been, like so far for the years. Like last year, I know, even though they only did some day activities, it was more expensive. While this is our least expensive option, it can be pretty pricey for some students. So we are going to have fundraising options. So by this time, we would have already like spent all of our money. We would have already paid for prom, even if it hasn't happened. So we will be able to have like the rest of our money we can give to students for fundraising and help them like be able to join the trip so that we can have as many people as possible join us.
As you can see, there are not many items that the students need to bring. They'll just need to bring their linens, like their blankets and pillows, sunscreen, bug spray, their own toiletries, and clothes and bathing suits. So it's really as inclusive as possible. There's also more information on their website where you can kind of take a tour around the campsite. Thank you so much for listening and for your time. Do you guys have any questions?
Sounds like a fun time. All right, thank you very much.
So they'll vote on this officially at the next board meeting. You guys did a great job. We'll keep Ms. Sinclair apprised, and Lily, if you're obviously here as a board rep, you'll be tuned into that. But it's a great opportunity. I love the fact that it's local and that it's something that you're trying to include everyone with. So great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think the board is actually contemplating going to Camp Corey now as well. That's a great thing, Lily. but not on June 1st and 2nd. We'll leave that for you guys. So I just want to give you a quick update on a couple of happenings. So, we talked a little bit earlier in the year about the progress with respect to our capital project that was voted on in 2023. And I honestly would say majority of our time yesterday in the elementary building was filled with excitement. I think Karen's been bombarded and Ben have been bombarded with questions about when can we play on the playground. So if you're driving by, you may notice the apparatus is starting to go up, and that the progress out there, which was very intentional. We started with the playground because we knew that there was a disruption in the building as a whole. We wanted our students to have something that they could feel a lot of pride with. So being down there this morning and recognizing how big the new playground apparatus is going to be fantastic. So they're really doing a good job. I've got some pictures of the second and third floors here, really just to remind the community why we're doing the project that we're doing, and that work is actually going to start. They're doing the abatement. The pre-abatement's been happening. The abatement work will begin Monday. So every time a visitor goes into the building, they're seeing the notification, and I'll share something that we're going to put out via Parent Square to remind the community that abatement work will happen next week, second shift, while no one's in the building. The building that is actually having the portion of the building that's having the abatement done will be sealed off, and the abatement is highly regulated and highly monitored. We were very specific with our contractors about that there should be no demolition happening with respect to the abatement while students or staff are in the building. So that work is going to begin. And you can see we're long overdue for the work in this building. I know they left already, but the students and staff really deserve a 21st century learning environment. And unfortunately, for many years, they have not had that down there. And this is just a reminder of some of what we're going to, dress up. It's a lot easier to look at now that you don't have children in the building, and you could see, like, we probably should have done this years ago. The next piece that I want to share with you is really just to kind of socialize this idea. You're looking at the transportation facility now. And I know Mr. Pinkerton is in the room with us as well. They're managing, and the facility down there is really cramped. It's really outdated and long overdue for some renovations there as well. So the top left is the current break room. Lower left is the office where our dispatcher and our senior bus drivers sit. And the ceiling tile, unfortunately, is a common occurrence down there. The roof failed in 2010. So you'll recall that when we had a conversation a few years ago about putting some money into the facility, the cost came back. It was about $3.5 million to bring it up to par with today's, standard with respect to the roof, some mortar joints being repaired, some paint and things of that nature. However, it did nothing for the footprint. It does nothing for the location, which is currently in the elementary parking lot. And as you've heard me say over the years, cars, children, and buses do not belong in the same environment. So that's a real hazard. And if you think back to 3 years ago, we actually had an accident with 2 school buses in that parking lot. So we need to address that. Here are some other pictures. This is really what I would say is not up to standard for what we've come to expect. And you can see that the exterior paint is peeling. The doors need work, the interior is dark. And I'm not trying to be negative about what the environment is, because as I said, Mr. Pinkerton and his staff are doing a great job of adapting to that environment, but they really do deserve better. Here's another look. There's our storage room off to the right, which is cramped. That blue picture in the middle, I will tell you, having gone in there with Amanda and Bill taking the tour, that's a hazard. I think Bill got a little chuckle when I turned around too quick and fell because the bus ramp kind of tripped me because it's right there. You know, if you look at the bottom of the middle, you could see just how cramped those bays are with respect to the size of today's school buses. And really, when we talk about electrification of a fleet, what we've been told is you need wider bays. And I'm not saying that the district is going to electric school buses, but if the mandate doesn't go away, we need to prepare for that. And with the school buses, when they're electric, the batteries slide out. We don't currently have the width in that arena to have more than one bus in there to try and service a bus battery. The fuel island, you know, you'll recall is new, but it's lacking a canopy. It's lacking a bus brush, which would be to get the snow off the top. And then up in the top left-hand corner, you'll see the second tier, which those 2x4s and that hot water heater up there really are not supposed to be exposed and open in that nature. So we're working on a couple of things to try and get us together to give you some accurate numbers as to what we feel should happen. And you'll recall this planning document from a few years ago with the capital projects and things of that nature. My hope is that I can give the Board of Education and the community some numbers in the very near future to talk about finishing the rest of the elementary building with respect to fit and finish. So lights, cabinets, flooring, paint, things of that nature. The high school would have more fit and finish, replacing the generator, highlighting some of the roof replacement schedule, air conditioning, finishing that third phase for both of those two buildings to make sure that there's a climate controlled environment here, just like we have at Leavenworth. And then at Leavenworth, replacing the elevator cab and making sure that that's up to speed. One of the other things that we've talked about would be athletic enhancements. We just have to figure out from a state ed perspective whether we have the money to touch the fields to capitalize on the district's reserves. One of the things that we have to really consider is with the incidental funds, which pays for our fields and pays for the architects and the engineers, the construction management, is we have to make sure that we're within the cycle to capitalize on as much money as we possibly can. So any capital project that we do, it's about 85% covered from state aid. So it's about 15 cents per dollar. It's local share. We believe that we have enough set aside in our capital reserve to cover any local share right out of the reserve for all these enhancements that we're talking about. The one piece that we're uncertain of is the fields. And that's really where we need state ed to come back to us and say, you can use some incidental money from Leavenworth, let's say, because we don't currently have any athletic competition fields over there. And we really need that portion because from a safety and security standpoint, I want all of our student athletes to participate on fields here. So if our modified is playing, they should be on campus. If our JV is playing on campus, if our varsity is playing on campus. We have the benefit of Marshall Park right now, which is a fantastic facility and a great relationship with the Marshall Foundation. However, our students deserve to play on campus. So right now, we feel pretty confident of coming forward with a proposal, maybe later in this month, to talk to you about a transportation facility, some enhancements to the elementary, the high school, and Leavenworth, minor at Leavenworth, but really thinking about those things and leveraging the money. The question for us all is going to be whether we can tackle the athletic fields as well. We're okay with putting some of our unfunded portion, you know, meaning the district would sponsor the athletic field enhancements, but I won't do that to the detriment of the community. So for example, when we put the bleachers in, they weren't aided at the same rate that the rest of the project was. We made a conscientious decision to do that because it was necessary. So that's really what's going to come down to it. So my feeling is a board workshop, become more informed about what we can do, try to look at a scope of a project and figure out what's happening, and then kind of move forward from there. And I bring this picture up, not because that's the latest bathroom addition, but because right there is where the cell phone tower is going, right? So that construction has started as well. So you'll remember a few years ago, I think people thought I was a little off my rocker when I said we really need to have a cell phone tower because the lack of connectivity in an emergency situation is really scary, right? And most of our systems run off of the cellular, regardless of whether there's landline or not, because our system here is run off data. It's not the traditional phone lines on telephone poles anymore. So the cellular provides us with a great benefit. So that work has started also. So it kind of coincides with the 23 capital project. So just wanted to kind of quickly review that and then kind of say, I think it's time for us to upgrade this environment. To mimic some of the other things that we've started to tackle. Any questions, comments, concerns, or feedback?
Just a quick question, because you were talking about different buildings being involved.
Yep.
That also improves our rate, doesn't it? So that it could go above the 85?
Well,
If we have more than one building involved?
I don't want to comment on that specifically because there are specific formulas that will be used, but I know that Andrew's been in touch with fiscal advisors. We've been in touch with our bond counsel. We've been working on different things to look at our scenarios to make sure, you know, that we're informed of where we can get our money and exactly how much will come out of reserves. Anything that went above the 85 obviously is a win, and we certainly want to capitalize on that. And when we say to folks, there's going to be no impact on the tax rate, right? So it's taxpayer money, no matter how you slice it. It's just not going to increase the tax rate. And we've been planning for this since 2020. We've been taking manageable bites at the capital improvements because when we walked in the door, there was so much need. And so we've been very intentional with chewing off little pieces at a time.
Based on the experience I had this last week, I went to, I agree that on campus is important. Parking is going to be important there.
Yeah.
Because I went to middle school soccer, boys and girls, and they were on the fields that are over here by the parking lot. And the parking lot was filled, and it was with Telmac, I think. I can't remember exactly, but the parking lot was filled. There were hundreds of chairs lined up on all the fields. And that wasn't the Scotty Martin field either. That's the fields over here.
Right.
So it's important to get the whole idea that they're using the whole facility. You got bathrooms, you got parking.
Yeah. So those are all conversations our designers have heard. You know, we want it to be a little bit more accessible every time that we add something to our facility. You know, we extended this parking lot out here. We're getting closer to the door. If we were going to create different athletic spaces, we would create different ways to get there as well. So parking a little bit more accessible to the fields, parking that's a little bit more friendly for people that have mobility impairments, and then restrooms, not just at the concession stand, but if we build the new transportation facility, there would be restrooms on the back of that as well that would be accessible for people using our campus as well. And really, when we talk about this, you know, the campus as a whole, the high school is really in a vulnerable spot with respect to, you know, if there were ever something that happened here, a natural disaster, a fire, or God forbid, an active incident, our students are really on an island with respect to getting from one building to another. There isn't anything in close proximity like there is to Leavenworth or North Rose Elementary. So I think that that's something that we have to think about here. And if we brought the transportation facility up to campus here, and we have an inter-campus means of getting people to another building quickly, we should do that. We should be very intentional with that and plan for that. And that's kind of where our mindset is from a design element.
I don't feel that the transportation facility is even a question. I just think it's the facility as it is deplorable. If you look at the picture, you can see there's add-on after add-on after add-on. Structurally, it's in poor shape, and it just doesn't meet the needs of today's buses and the care that we need to give them. I just don't think that's even a question on whether we need that or not. You walk in there, be afraid. So, yeah.
Yeah, and as I said, they're
Glad
doing.
to see this come forward.
Thank you. And I think that is it, right? Like our bus drivers, we've said how important they are. The first thing to see them in the morning, the first staff member to see them in the morning, the last one to leave them in the evening. And I believe we all respect them. I think we now start to show them our respect by putting them in a facility that I won't say state of the art, but I will say more modern than what they're currently in. I know some of us have visited state of the art facilities, and I've told our designers, I like a fancy rectangle, right? Not anything with geometric shapes. I don't need anything like that. I need a driver's break room. I need an instructional space. I need some offices. I need bays. I need natural light. I need modern lighting. But really, I think that that's what we're geared toward right now. And I believe that we have a good plan. And I think workshop wise, just to inform the board and the community of, what our next steps are and try to hit a target date. Because like we've said here, people rally around, they don't rally around social studies tests, but they do with sports. And I'd love to give our student athletes a state-of-the-art facility as well. But I won't do that at the expense of our taxpayers as a whole. I want to make sure we're prudent with our money and make sure that we're able to capitalize on every bit of state aid possible. And I do have a call in the state ed, and I did miss a call from one of our planners at state ed to try and just socialize the idea of letting me use that incidental money, which is so critically important. And I would say our construction team as a whole is very good. And I think Andrew's been through enough of these capital projects to know, hey, we can afford this or we can't. Very similar to what Gary would say to us. And Andrew said this multiple times, don't overpromise, underdeliver. Let's go out. And our mindset has always been, let's swing for average. But I do believe it's time now to capitalize on the current state and the state of the state, finish the elementary, give every one of those children a clean, welcoming, and inviting environment, finish this high school, clean, welcoming environment, and then tackle this as well, so that everybody feels good about the standard that we're shooting for, because I think that that's been consistent. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cohen. At this time, we come to the public access. Has anyone signed up, Tina?
No.
No, none tonight? All right. Then we will move on to the board member. No, it's not board member requests. That's actually our reports. Our report time. So we'll start with the liaisons. Let's see, elementary. We don't have a report, I don't believe, for elementary. although we did hear a report from elementary, so we'll take that as a good report. Thank you. Is there anything going on or going to happen in this fall that we should know about?
So we have our fall fun days coming up, which is a big event at the elementary school on the 30th. And we have a lot of parent volunteers, and that's parent run. So they run different stations around the school, and this teachers sign up for different ones. So that's always good. They get cider and donuts. We have our Halloween parade coming up. We're gonna really look at that weather. And because of the construction, I was actually talking to Mike about possibly using maybe Marshall Park way to go, because it's something the kids and the families love. They come. We have our Cubby Club. We're gonna celebrate being safe and some of our awards on the 24th. We just celebrated students who passed the state test with ice cream.
We had North Rose Fire Department
Oh,
came
yeah.
in to do a
Yes.
presentation for 2 of our grade levels today. So we did kindergarten and first grade. So they came in and, you know, got to learn about the gear that firefighters wear, and actually they geared up, which I think is a really cool thing to do, so that children can hear them talk when they have their gear on, so that it's not scary if they were ever in an emergency situation. And then the kids got to tour the trucks, got a little fire hat.
I have to say, the hat was the
The
big,
hat was the
the
big
hat
one.
was the big ordeal. They got a fire hat, so some good stuff.
Yes, well, thank you. Yes, as I drive by and I see the bulldozers and all the heavy equipment, I think, oh, they're doing career education there. On top of a new playground. Great, thank you. Middle school, Leslie, do you have anything to report?
I do.
Okay.
So in September, the 8th grade students got to take their annual career carnival trip. I think that's at the fairgrounds, if I remember right. So the kids went and they were very well behaved, so they represented us well. It's very important. But they got to see law enforcement, first responders, health field, agriculture, technology, lots of other things for the kids to check out. So I think that's always been a good thing for them to see what's in Wayne County for them. Then there's a big dance coming up. I know I have children who have been discussing the event. They're splitting it up. 5 and 6 gets an hour, and then 7 and 8 gets a little bit longer, but they're not dancing together. They get to have separate dances. And then Red Ribbon Week is coming up towards the end of October. So they will have spirit days for that and doing those things. I actually need to put in a plug for the band and music and thank the district, because I asked my 5th grader, well, what have you liked about school? And she had to think way too long, honestly, I think about that, but she has been loving band. So I'm really grateful that the district provides that for kids. She's really loved it. So
Great, thank you. Parents, anything from the high school?
Yeah. So Nikki says, we just wrapped up a fantastic homecoming week. Students participated in Theme Spirit Days, our annual pep rally, athletic events, and of course, the homecoming dance. Over 250 students attended the dance, making it a very memorable night. Just completed the first 5 weeks of school, and they're preparing for our fall benchmark assessments, which will be administered in all content areas this month. This past month, we also welcomed our new school counselor, Miranda Merton. She has quickly acclimated to our school community and is learning the NRW way. Ms. Merton is already working closely with students and contributing positively to our counseling center. And then looking ahead, we're excited for our community Halloween party on October 24th from 5:30 to 8. This evening will feature our trunk or treat event, a haunted house, as well as crafts and games for families to enjoy. Thank you.
John, do you have anything from Cougar Act?
Yes, the tutoring center, it offers virtual tutoring for surrounding schools. We currently have 6 of our own students and 4 district to participate in home hospital tutoring or awaiting placement. Great service. In-person tutoring, we have 4 out of district and 3 in district. So I'm sure. In the hub, that's first and second year students. We started with 20 students and now we're looking at the 5-week data and inviting others to participate as need arises. Credit recovery, that's for the 3rd and 4th year high school students. 60 students, I mean, that's amazing. And every Wednesday now, they're giving math tutoring for algebra and geometry regions. I think it's to start giving the tutoring in October and September is a real smart move. Don't wait until 3 weeks before the test. And we're having a former math teacher give the support. Well done. Well done.
Such an important part of North Rose-Wolcott. Thank you, Mark. Linda, is there anything to report from Fort County, either the Board of Directors and or the legislature?
Actually, the Board of Directors will be meeting again at the end of this month, and we'll be taking a look at providing more events that'll be beneficial to board members and to staff. And the Fort County Legislative Committee will be meeting this Saturday. And there are plans for us to meet with different legislators, either by Zoom or in person, which is something we haven't done for a few years. So that face-to-face is important. Actually, I think we'll be meeting with Senator Hillebrand at one point too. So
that's good. Travis, anything from the District Safety Committee?
I actually do. So at the last meeting we had, we talked about each school has started practicing their evacuation drills. This includes fire drills, lockout drills, and lockdown drills. Each building is also in the process of doing their interior and exterior walkthroughs, which they look for any safety concerns. Windows, doors, trip hazards, anything, and then they make a list and that make sure that they address any of the issues they find on their walkthrough. And then with the construction starting at the elementary school and soon to begin at the high school, it was reminded that all the construction workers that'll be on premises need to be ran through the Raptor system, and they will be given a badge that must be worn and visible at all times, which makes it easier for our staff to identify anybody that's on premises that shouldn't be. Visitors have to wear their badges, construction workers that are supposed to be here have to wear their badges. So I thought that was all good stuff.
Good. Thank you. Is there anything for audit, Travis?
No, audit committee hasn't met yet, so nothing at this time.
All right, thank you. Linda, anything for handbook?
well, everyone's gotten their new revised handbook. Oops, I'm not trying that. Everyone has gotten a new revised handbook, so our work for this year is done until next year.
We hope. Yes. Thank you. Tina, anything from Communications Committee?
We're actively engaging with Amanda, who's really been promoting many of our efforts. That's going well.
Good, good, great. John, anything from personnel negotiations? No? Okay. Leslie, policy?
Not at this time.
All righty. And our student representative here tonight is Lily Mastrangelo. We're so happy to have you with us, Lily. You've already reported on the senior camping out trip. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about?
Just a little bit. I recently attended a seminar with Mr. Bullen where I met with other student board of education members, and we talked about problems facing other schools and things they were trying to solve, which kind of gave me a bit of a starting point on things to focus on for our school. And one of the main things we've been trying to figure out is ways of communication between the student body and myself. So we're trying to work on setting up a separate email account where me and Marcus would have access to, so people could send their ideas and their input to that. So our other inboxes aren't being flooded with other students. We're also working on trying to get a website called Thought Exchange. Excuse me. Out to the student body, where it basically is an app that gets a set list of questions to all students. They will put in their input and their answers to those questions. And then after they're done answering, other students can go in and rank their responses from what they feel they relate to the strongest to the least. So we can kind of focus on their bigger issues first, and then figure out the smaller ones later. Overall, the school atmosphere has been high. Homecoming activities kind of help build club involvement and school spirit, and we're hoping that the Halloween party kind of continues that as people are trying to get into more clubs that can help run that party. Thank you.
Those sound great. May I ask, is that just for high school students, or would both of those, the app and would more students from other buildings be included with that?
Right now, definitely Thought Exchange, but probably the email inbox too will just be focused on high school students. Possibly in the future it'll expand, but right now just high school.
A good start.
Yes.
Great. Anyone else?
I really like the idea of that. That's Thought Exchange app. I mean, that's actually RSA is doing something very similar to that to try to get ideas for their next. Is it the same? Okay, because I was just on it, and when she was explaining it, it sounds like the same app that they're trying to get ideas for the next convention.
So communication again is key. Thank you. At this time, the board needs to go into a short executive session to discuss the employment history of employees, of specific employees. Could I have a motion, please, to go into executive session? Leslie and Tina? Any discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We won't be long. We'll be back. If any of you feel you must leave, we'll bid you goodbye. And if you stay, we'll be back soon.
They get a copy.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's something to get a compliment from your boss, but when it's coming from a random community member that just witnessed something you did, or, you know, I thought they were great. And as you went through, you saw teachers that had 3 and 4 of them. It's just amazing. So I wanted to, you know, say I really enjoyed whoever came up with the kudos, and look forward to reading those each month.
Forwarding that.
Yeah.
So that we didn't miss it. That was great. Those were fun to read.
They were.
Yeah.
So.
I believe, was it a week ago, when that our superintendent presented at Ford County Board membership meeting. So we were appreciative of him doing that and spending the time to prepare for that, and also very proud of him for representing the district at the Ford County level. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I know Megan and Lori did a great job presenting with us as well. And so, you know, they're actually going out to Chicago, part of Midwest PBIS. You may have heard over the past few years, we've been working with them on several interventions, and they're so pleased with the progress we're making. They've asked Megan and Lori to travel out west to present. So I think it's a great thing that they're doing later in the month. And I appreciate the opportunity for us to highlight what we're doing as a district. And I think when we did that regionally, the feedback that we've received about our strategic action plan and the alignment to where we're going for the next 5 years is really helpful. So it's really a pleasure whenever we can get out there and celebrate North Rose-Wolcott. We'll take advantage of that. So that was great. Earlier in the meeting, we talked about the message. So this is the letter that's going to go out tomorrow for Parent Square. Just talk about the abatement. And it just reinforces what I had shared with you verbally. I wanted to share that with you. And I know that Travis had mentioned the safety committee stuff. So one of the other things that we're going to do, we're actually going to host something with the FBI. We're actually going to talk about digital dangers. And Agent Smith out of the Buffalo field office, and I've had several conversations. She's actually going to come down and work with Crystal and Joe to present cybersecurity methods in addition to what they're doing currently with Trooper Klowicki. But this one here, we're going to do at the auditorium here at the high school. We'll kind of run people through it because, you know, cyber media or social media is really starting to take a hold of the sextortion and a lot of those dangers that kids are being exposed to that we just want to kind of inform parents of. So we'll be a local hosting site. And I'm excited about that, you know, so we'll give you more information, but I want to put it out now that on Thursday, November 6th from 6 to 8, that's happening. And then tomorrow, you know, it's a district superintendent's conference day off for our students. Really a lot of great things happening tomorrow with respect to safety, security, ongoing professional development, a lot of things with MTSS, school leadership teams. So really excited about that. And I'm very proud of the community that we live in and work in. You know, last year when I presented at the New York State School Board's meeting, I referenced that we're an agricultural community and we're very proud of our apples. So we actually tomorrow, Mrs. Waffler has a direct connection with us, obviously, for her involvement with the schools, but Waffler's has donated several bins of apples to our staff, and then we're actually doing apple cider donuts tomorrow as part of our snack for our staff as well. So really getting into that fall spirit. So I just wanted to add those two pieces for the board because I know you're usually engaged with us with what's happening as far as the PD. So I figured I would just share that with you as well.
Great, thank you so much.
Cinda,
Linda?
well, I have a comment too, because it's not listed for me, but I'm on the BOCES board, and at our BOCES meeting this past week, our Cougar Apps program was highlighted as a very positive experience here and how it's helping our students and in addition other students. So there's a little bit of Cougar pride on my part listening to that, and it was good to know that other board members are aware of it too. They also highlighted the program in Marion that's agriculturally related for their students as well.
Wonderful.
And Mrs. Collier is always willing to promote everyone else, but on Tuesday night, she served on a panel for Women's Leadership Council.
So it's my honor to be there, truly. So, is there any other discussion, or we can roll right into good news also? Anyone has something they'd like to share? We had a lot of that tonight. All right. Then we've come to the end of our agenda. The board does need to go into executive session one more time to discuss the employment history of employees, of specific employees. So I'd like a motion, please, to go into executive session. Tina and Travis. Discussion. All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll be going into executive session. When we return, we will be adjourning. We will not be doing any further business. So again, you're free to stay if you wish, but if you choose to leave, we wish you good night, and we'll see you at the next meeting.
Yeah, either way, you can't have it.